Hello and welcome to the UCL Institute of Archaeology Virtual Open Day. Today you'll have a chance to watch taster videos, meet staff and students from the Institute of Archaeology, and you'll have a chance to ask us any questions you have about archaeology, the degrees, living in London, UCL, or anything you'd like to ask us. Welcome. Hello, I'm Charlotte Fritz and I'm your host today. This is a photo of me and my dog Indiana Jones. He is a trained therapy dog and sometimes comes into the department to help with staff and student wellbeing. My role at the Institute is I'm the undergraduate admissions officer, so I work alongside the UCL central admissions team on looking at UCAS forms and helping people with application questions about archaeology and all of our 7 degrees. I'm the fieldwork officer. I work very closely with the fieldwork tutor Mark Roberts on getting students fieldwork. I'm the Careers Liaison Tutor, working very closely with the Careers Department at UCL. I'm a Wellbeing Champion, working with staff and students, and I'm a Social Media Officer, running our Instagram, Facebook and Twitter pages, as well as SoundCloud. There will be an Instagram live event going on very shortly, so please do head over to our Instagram account at UCL Archaeology, all one word, and it's hashtag #IoAVOD. Get involved. You're more than welcome to. My contact details, my email address and my mobile phone number. You can always ask us to give you a call to discuss any of the degrees, or you can drop me an email and we can chat on there. So, what is archaeology? Archaeology is the study of past societies based on the material evidence people left behind. Archaeology uses social, historical and scientific approaches to interpret the evidence. It's not just about digging and finding things underground either. Archaeology uses a huge range of evidence to help us tell stories about our ancestors and find out about their everyday lives. Humankind is almost 4 million years old, but written records have only been made by people for around the last 5,000 years. Archaeology helps to fill in the huge gaps in human history before writing, and it can add more detail to the historical record even after writing was invented. The Institute of Archaeology was founded in 1937 by Sir Mortimer Wheeler, seen here on the left. The person in the middle is his wife, Tessa Verney Wheeler, who was fundamental in establishing the Institute of Archaeology and finding our first home in Regent's Park. To the right, you can see Mortimer's amazing book, Still Digging. I have a copy of this, and it very much got me into archaeology when I was younger. Mortimer and Tessa worked alongside Flinders Petrie and Hilda Petrie at establishing a centre for archaeology in the centre of London. St John's Lodge over in Regent's Park, to the left of this slide, was our original home from the 1930s to the 1950s. In the 1950s, we moved to the building bottom right of this slide. This is 31 to 34 Gordon Square, and it's still our home today. Right in the centre of Euston, right next to UCL, and in front of a great park called Gordon Square, we've been here since the 1950s. All 8 stories of this building were constructed with archaeology in mind and for us. The basement, we have the Wolfson Archaeological Science Labs, we have scanning electron microscopes, we have isotope analysis, we have wet chemistry rooms, DNA rooms, and our collections store. We have around 80,000 objects in our collections, and you'll be working with these right from the get-go on your degree. You do a course called Sites and Artefacts, and you'll be working with actual artefacts throughout this course. On the ground floor, we have our lecture theatre, which is used by other sectors from UCL, but is also used by you. That leads out into our Leventis Gallery, which is one of the smallest museums in London, but is truly an amazing gallery of archaeological material. You can come and see it when the building reopens. Then we have our reception area and the lifts to other floors. On the first floor, we have one of our 2 computer clusters and staff offices. On the second floor, we have another lecture theatre, well, a seminar room, and staff offices, and our lithics laboratory, where we have lithics from all around the world, from Olduvai Gorge, Swanscombe, Botsgrove, and all over the UK, Europe, and, as I say, the rest of the world. Going up again, our second floor, oh no, I've done the second floor, no! Our third floor, we have our environmental labs, our bones lab, and our GIS suite. This is all from memory, so I think you should be quite proud of this. So our GIS suite as well. Going up again on the 4th floor, we have 2 more seminar rooms and our photographic suite. The 5th floor, we have the very best, and this is true, archaeological library in the world. It's the biggest, it's run by the subject-specific librarian, Dr. Katie Mayhew, and a library team that are absolute second to none. This is the largest archaeological library in the world, we think, and it's certainly the best. With books ranging from human evolution all the way through to forensic anthropology, you can find everything in this library. We've also got all of our journals, well, pretty much all of our journals now online. This forms part of, I think, 18 libraries across UCL, but I will check that. Going up again, we have the 6th floor. On the 6th floor, we have conservation labs, the staff room, and more staff offices. Truly, this building is exceptional. We are, as I say, full of labs, collection stores, staff offices, and spaces for students. We are very, very lucky to have this building. And even though we are, of course, part of UCL, we joined UCL in the 1980s, so we are still the Institute of Archaeology, but very much part of UCL. We work closely with all other sections across UCL, from geography to history to ancient history to chemistry, you name it, we work with it. So, you've seen the buildings, now let's meet some of the staff. Okay, time to meet some staff. As you can probably tell, this is not our current staff. This is a photo of the 1950s staff. In the centre at the front sitting down is Gordon Child, an eminent archaeologist who I urge you to have a look online for. He's an absolutely extraordinary character. To the left, you can see Kathleen Kenyon seated second from the left, and another absolutely amazing archaeologist, and one of the reasons I got into archaeology. She dug the walls of Jericho and the walls of London. You can see from this photo that we do have a lot of female archaeologists, and it's very much an equal gender split. This is a theme that's really strong in archaeology and very strong in our department. So this is a slightly more up-to-date photo of our staff. One of the most obvious things is that we have grown massively in size. Our staff body is now at around 80 academic members of staff, with around 20 professional services staff. Then we have postdocs, PhD students who also work with undergraduates, master's students, and of course undergraduates. We're a very big department, but I would say, having experienced both being a student in the department and a staff member, one of the most friendly departments. In this photo, you can see the human in the blue dress at the front is Professor Sue Hamilton. Sue is our current director and also does her research on Rapa Nui, otherwise known as Easter Island. Other members of staff in this photo, on the right-hand side, Louise Martin is a zoo archaeologist. Next to her, Andy Gardner is a Roman archaeologist. In the middle, we've got Stuart Brooks, he's a medievalist. Next to him, but one, is Corinna Riva, who works in the Mediterranean. At the back, we've got Andrew Reed, who's an African archaeologist. Basically, we have people working all over the world. Far left, we've got Manuel Calin. He works in the Amazon. Jose Oliver, standing next to Sue, he also works in South America. We cover the globe and we cover all periods of archaeology. We're a truly global department. So as I say, we are truly a global department, and this is well reflected by the projects that we run and that we work on around the world. As you can see from these two maps, we work on pretty much every single continent. We work extensively across Britain, we work across Europe, Africa, Asia, North and South America, and to somewhat Australasia. These projects range from excavations, fieldwork, museum work, heritage work, public archaeology, and of course lab work. We consider ourselves a department of world archaeology. As you can see in this slide, we work on Rapa Nui, Easter Island, Terracotta Army in China, Stonehenge, and Volubilis in Morocco. These are just a small selection of the amazing sites that we work on around the globe. And it's something that you'll be able to explore and expand on throughout your degree with us. So archaeological science is another focus for our department, and it's something that we also focus on within the degrees. We'll go into these more later, but we do have 7 degrees. Now, the main difference between the BA Archaeology and the BSc Archaeology is that within the BSc, we ask you to focus on science units within the Institute. Archaeology itself is a degree and a discipline that really focuses on both the arts, the humanities, and the science side of study. So for the BSc, we do ask you to undertake more of the science units which are open and available to you within the Institute. We also ask that your dissertation be more of a science focus. Now, the support you would get within the Institute for something like the science degree is absolutely unparalleled. We have, as you can see in this image, around 80,000 objects in the collection. We have animal remains, we have human remains, we have environmental collections. We also have human-made artefacts. Bottom left, you can see Dr. Tom Gregory in the red t-shirt working on an object analysis day. This is Ulrika Sommer he's working with. They're looking at pots and materials. Top of this image you can see some animal remains, so our zoo archaeology collection, which is vast and covers pretty much much most animals. I believe we have a tiger skull in the basement, but don't hold me to that. We also have human remains. None of them are pictured here because generally these stay within the lab, and you can see these if you choose to undertake the module focusing on these. We also have a master's programme which looks at these and the forensic side of anthropology. We also have a very strong archaeometallurgy department, or team of people. In the middle of this image we have metal objects. We study these working with conservation, working with the artefact team, and again, as BSc students, you can undertake a module in archaeological conservation. As BSc students, you'd work with microscopes. You'd have more access to the labs that we have in the building. So we ask you to make your degree more of a science-based degree. We'll go on to talk about the modules later, but we do have science-specific modules. That's not to say that the BA students can't take science modules, but we ask that the BSc is simply more focused on science. This gives you a more scientific degree at the end of the day. In terms of community, the UCL Institute of Archaeology is absolutely awesome. As I say, I was a student at the Institute about 14 years ago, and now I'm a staff member. The students, well, they're amazing. Both the undergraduates and the master's students, and in fact the PhD students, all work together. It's very difficult to work out who's who and which level they're at, because students simply all work together, and they work with staff as well. Top left of this slide you can see our Society of Archaeology students from a few years ago. In the bottom middle is Mark Roberts in the pink shorts, working with students who are given jobs on his training course in their second year. They then train up the first year students. Bottom left again is my dog Indy. I'm very biased, but he is the most beautiful dog in the world. In the middle at the top, the person receiving the award is Judy Medrington. She is the departmental administrator. All students know Judy, and Judy holds the key to all the information within UCL and the Institute. On the right of the image, meet Marie, Abby and Roz. These three were presidents of the Society of Archaeology students for 3 consecutive years. They've all moved on now. Marie is currently completing her masters at the Institute. Abby has gone on to work for the civil service, and Roz is currently living in Germany. In fact, you can hear Roz on one of our podcasts. The feeling in the building is exciting. It's always on the go. We obviously live and work in London, which is a very, very busy city. But with the feeling in the Institute, it makes it feel like a second home. And that's probably one of the reasons why a lot of staff have done their degrees there and have continued to work there. We have a very strong alumni body as well, who always come back to the Institute to help with careers days and just to see staff. Judy remembers everybody, so they're always welcome to come into the building. So on to the degrees. We offer 7 degrees within the Institute, 5 of which are 3 years and 2 of which are 4 years. So starting with the 3-year degrees, we have the BA in Archaeology. I'll put a link to these at the bottom of this page, so please do have a look at the structure of these degrees. But you'll see that they are all truly global degrees. The BA in Archaeology, as with all the other degrees, starts in the first year with an introductory courses to archaeology. From sites and artefacts to field methods, you get a great overview of everything that archaeology is. In the second and third year, you have the option of, especially with the BA Archaeology, of really choosing modules that suit you. You can keep it completely general, or you can move out and become more of a specialist. We'll go into the modules a bit later, but again, I'll post a link to the modules that we offer within the degrees. The second degree, BA in Archaeology and Anthropology, is split between us and the Anthropology department of UCL, which is just next door. In fact, our buildings are joined. This degree, especially in the first year, is split 50-50 with Archaeology and Anthropology. So you undertake introductory courses in Archaeology and the introductory modules in Anthropology. In Archaeology, you'll be looking at pretty much the same things as the BA in Archaeology, and in Anthropology, you'll be looking at bioanthropology, material culture studies, and social anthropology. You have the option of doing medical anthropology, ethnography, and lots of different areas within anthropology, and equally within archaeology. The second and third year, you can make more focus on archaeology or more focus on anthropology, or you can again split it 50-50. Your dissertation in the third year could again be a combination of both, or more geared towards one or the other. Your home would be the Institute of Archaeology and your personal tutor would be with us, and that's mainly to keep things simple for you. The next degree is the BA in Archaeology of Egypt and Sudan. This is a new degree starting in 2020 and is based on the former degree, the BA of Egyptian Archaeology. So this is run, you'll meet the people in the next slide, but this is run by Dr. Claudia Nasser. And Claudia works in Sudan alongside a number of PhD students. And this degree is really focused on learning about the archaeology of, as it says, Egypt and Sudan. You get to undertake lectures in places like the Petrie Museum with an extensive Egyptian archaeology collection, and of course the British Museum. The next degree is the BA in Classical Archaeology and Classical Civilizations. This is a unique degree, combining archaeology with classical civilizations. You undertake fieldwork as part of this degree, but the focus is on a study tour, potentially, of the classical world. The final 3-year degree is the BSc in Archaeology. As discussed before, this has a much more scientific gear to it. So we ask you to undertake modules looking at things like human remains, animal remains, microscopy, isotope analysis, materials. You can do what you like to do with this degree, but it is a way of getting a more science archaeological background. The 2 4-year degrees, the BA Archaeology with a year abroad, is the same as the 3-year degree BA Archaeology, but in your 3rd year you go to a partner institution somewhere around the world. We'll put the list up of all the institutions and you can talk to Liz Graham, the degree tutor, about where you might be going in your 3rd year. The BA in Archaeology with a placement year, equally your 3rd year is spent in industry. Now, you would work with our commercial archaeology department, Archaeology South East. They're part of UCL and they work around London, Brighton, Essex and around the South East, thus Archaeology South East, on commercial archaeology sites. You'd be paid for this year and it would give you a great foundation in how UK archaeology in the commercial sector works. So as you can see, you've got 7 degrees to choose from, and these 7 degrees cover all of archaeology. It's quite difficult to choose between them. If you come in on the BA Archaeology and you think you might want to do more science units, you can. And in fact, if you do the BA Classical Archaeology and you want to do the unit on human osteology, so human remains, you can. So you can tailor the degrees to be more to your specific preferences. So this slide lists the degree tutors. All of these people are in the chat rooms today, so you can chat to any of them about their specific degrees. The documents that are uploaded in the booth also have all of their contact details, so should you wish to chat to them more about their specific areas of archaeology, how they got into archaeology, or what you'd be doing on the degree, please do reach out to them. These people are all super friendly and are more than happy to chat to you about your archaeological future. And finally, looking at how the degrees work. So again, you can see in the 1st year, you undertake a number of compulsory introductory courses, and you also have the opportunity to learn more about skills training and fieldwork, museums and archives in the UK. We organise trips to LARC, which is the London Archaeological Archive Research Centre, and down to the Thames foreshore with the Thames Discovery Programme. This is the longest archaeological site in Britain and gives you a really good understanding, obviously when the tide is out, of our ancestors in London and the kind of things that they've left behind. The 2nd year, you have more advanced concepts in archaeology and then more options courses. In the summer, you undertake student-led fieldwork in the UK and overseas, excavation, ethnography, museum work and site tours. The 3rd year, you have more option courses, a compulsory course on archaeology in the world, so using everything you've learned to work out how archaeology fits into the world in which we live, and the dissertation. The dissertation is the largest piece of work you'll do. We'll go into that a bit more later today. You also have to do a fieldwork skills portfolio, talking about what you've learned and how you've changed throughout your fieldwork journey. There are around 75 undergraduate modules that currently run out of the Institute of Archaeology that are available to you as undergraduate students. Most of these run biannually, but you can take them in your 2nd or 3rd year. These range from human osteology, zoo archaeology, Maya archaeology, Incan archaeology, the archaeology of Britain and Europe, Stonehenge. They cover everything. I've put a link on this website, so go and check them out and see what you might be interested in undertaking with us. It's a mixture of lectures, seminar, tutorial and lots of hands-on learning and teaching. As I mentioned before when I did the virtual tour of the building, our labs, our resources are second to none. We have the 8 stories and we work within all 8 stories. As you can see here, we've got a student top left undertaking, I think, conservation. Bottom left, we have the library. In the middle, we have Ian Carroll working with students on the archive. On the right, we have students undertaking microscope analysis, and bottom right, we have one of the XRF, the PXRF. It's a portable XRF, and I will again post a link to what exactly that is. I'm not a scientist in archaeology, so I would have to look that up. But luckily, one of the beautiful things about archaeology is that we have all the expertise in the building. So even though I'm not a scientist in archaeology, when I undertake excavations and find artefacts, I bring them back to the Institute, and my colleagues, for example Tom Gregory, looks at these under microscopes for me and tells me what they're made of. This is why archaeology works so well. It's teamwork, it's collaboration, it's everything. Now, if you've already visited UCL or live in London, you might have heard of the Petrie Museum, the Grant Museum, the Pathology Museum and the Slade Museum, and the Leventis Gallery, of course, in our building. These are all UCL museums and collections. These form part of the UCL culture, and they are open to both the public and students. A lot of our students volunteer in these collections, especially at the Petrie Museum of Egyptian Archaeology, over on the main campus of UCL, the Grant Museum of Zoology, over on Gower Street. The Pathology Museum is up in Hampstead at the Royal Free Hospital, and the Slade Museum, or the Art Museum, is again on the main campus. These museums are part of over 300 museums that you can find in London. The vast majority of these are free. In this photo we have a few of the museums and a few of the collections. Top left is our local borough museum, otherwise known as the British Museum. It's approximately 8 minutes walk from the Institute and has probably the largest collection of archaeological material, certainly in the United Kingdom. I used to work there, I know a lot of useless facts about the British Museum. For example, it's 3 miles all the way around. So if you do come to London and you do study in London, you can pick a gallery and just look at that in a day. It is a huge museum with a collection about the whole world. The photo next to it, that is the Foundling Museum. One along from that is the Tate Modern over on the South Bank. Below that we have the Transport for London Museum. Next to that we have the Hunterian Museum, and far left on the bottom the John Soane Museum. These are just a very small number of the museums we have in London. I work on the Museum Studies programme as well, so I've actually been to, I think, probably the 300 museums by now. And I can tell you, they range from everything from the Police Museum to the Charles Dickens Museum to the Old Operating Theatre Museum, which is very much not for the queasy, to galleries like the National Gallery, the National Portrait Gallery, the Tate Modern, and then smaller galleries like Whitechapel. You can do something every day of the year in London, for free probably, although don't hold me to that, and you would still not be bored. So now we come on to fieldwork. We ask all of our undergraduates to undertake around 70 days of fieldwork with us, whether this is excavation, surveying, museum work, lab work, archive, public archaeology, heritage. You can choose from a vast array of different types of fieldwork. We're currently looking at digital fieldwork as well, so working with online collections, online artefacts, and how we work through these different options. So this image shows you fieldwork in London, top left. In the middle and bottom right, you've got fieldwork in a cave in Montenegro. Top right, you've got some of our students in a van in Belize. And then bottom, you've got our students working in Uganda. As part of your 70 days of fieldwork with us, you undertake the Experimental Archaeology course. This is a chance for you to meet your fellow students, staff, and undertake experimental archaeology in the field with archaeological experts, from flint knapping, fire making, copper smelting, structure building, landscape walking, cheese making, and spoon carving, to a variety of other activities that run on an annual basis, including the secrets of Stonehenge, which I still don't know. We run a huge number of activities for you. This is an academic project. At the end of it, you have to write a 1,000-word essay on one of the activities that you undertake on the Experimental Archaeology course. As I say, it's been running for 38 years, and it's something that all alumni of the Institute of Archaeology have in common. As part of your 70 days of fieldwork, you undertake a field course with us. This is run by Mark Roberts, our fieldwork tutor, and currently is situated at Goodwood, or just above Goodwood, at Downley in West Sussex. The site at the moment is a multi-period site, giving students a real understanding of how a site changes over time. From opening a trench all the way through to surveying the landscape, you learn everything there is to know about an archaeological excavation, how you run an excavation, and how you work on one. In your second year, you're invited to apply for some jobs on this project, and you come along and you teach the first years exactly how to do what you were taught to do a year before. Both of these skills feed directly into your skills passport and your future career planning. Teamwork, an ability to work in all conditions, to be resilient, to both work in the sunshine and in the rain. This sets you up really well for putting in applications for any job in the real world post your degree. And as I say, it's not just about excavations. We work within the Institute on both the collections and the state-of-the-art equipment we have. So whether it's undertaking 3D modelling, photography, scanning, GIS, or any number of the different opportunities you have to create a bigger and better skills base, you can do this at the Institute. We have all the staff ready to help you, and we have all the equipment ready for you to work with. All we need now is you and your enthusiasm for archaeology.
Hello, my name's Hannah and I'm a third year archaeology and anthropology student. My time at UCL has offered me the opportunity to study a myriad of subjects. As part of my degree, I've studied languages, primatology and ethnographic modules. I've also seen how these disciplines cross over and students and staff from different backgrounds work together to address the same goals, such as studying urban acoustics or access to heritage. In the IoA, the collaborative environment continues between undergraduate students, master's students, postgraduate students and academic and administrative staff. I'm constantly being inspired to take different approaches in my work by the interactions I have with people from different disciplines in the department. I've been involved in collaborative projects with staff to hold student-staff committee meetings, to support digital fieldwork opportunities for undergraduate students, to research how the department could improve the situation for commuter students, and with students and staff to organise activities and social events. It's been easy to be involved in life at the department because from the moment I entered the building and every day since, there's always a friendly and welcoming environment amongst students and staff.
So I had done classical civilization for both GCSE and A-level, and we had to learn about some archaeological material during those lessons, which I always really liked. And on top of that, I was really indecisive about being made to choose between the humanities and the sciences. But luckily for me, I found out that archaeology incorporates bits and pieces from loads of different disciplines, so it wouldn't feel like I would be limited to just one at uni. So I started exploring the idea of studying classical archaeology during sixth form, and I saw a poster at school for the London Archaeology Day, so I thought it might answer some of the questions I had about the field. And I ended up going, and it was really cool. It showcased all the great stuff about archaeology and got me really excited about it, and honestly I think it was the thing that made me certain that I wanted to do archaeology at uni, which is great. The reason I chose the UCL IoA specifically was, one, because I really love London and there are a bunch of cool museums, which I figured would probably be very handy, especially for this kind of subject, and they definitely are. I've had lessons at the British Museum before, which are always really fun. But also because all archaeology degrees here require practical work and getting your hands dirty. And it wasn't just about reading textbooks or learning about ancient historians all day in a stuffy classroom. All the UCL open days I went to were really hands-on, we could get stuck in, and that's what I really loved about them. Also, all the staff made me feel really welcome, and the department just felt really comfortable. So, here I am.
There are a number of things that brought me to UCL, one of which being its location in the heart of London. London is an amazing city with lots of opportunities, places to go, and things to see. No matter what you're into, London has something for you. Specific to UCL, I found the mandatory fieldwork that all undergraduates have to do particularly attractive. This gives you the practical experience that's extremely useful for archaeological work in the future, as well as anything else that you might want to do after university. There are tons of funding opportunities as well as different projects all across the world depending on what you're interested in. So it's just an amazing opportunity and extremely fun all around. UCL is also an extremely global university. I have friends from all across the world, which all come from extremely different backgrounds, but we all have something in common and all came to UCL to study archaeology, or not even archaeology. Friends you find in clubs and societies all become really good friends, even with the diversity of everyone, which is really interesting and one of my favorite aspects of the university. Finally, UCL is one of the best universities in the world to study archaeology. The IoA faculty provide valuable resources as well as connections into the archaeological world, which are invaluable in your studies at the university.
So whether it's in your third year or your fourth year, we ask that you complete a dissertation with us at the end of your degree. This is the biggest piece of work that you will do. You can choose the subject and you do the research. Whether it's excavation research, field research, lab research, or library research, you can undertake pretty much anything. One of our members of staff would be your dissertation tutor, and you work with them in developing your own research question. On this page, you can see some of the research questions and dissertations that have come out of the Institute over the last couple of years. Do have a look at this and have a think about the different areas of archaeology that you're interested in. These may change over the years. For example, I started archaeology really wanting to become a Roman archaeologist or a Romanist. And by the end, I'd undertaken a dissertation looking at how Homo habilis, one of our human ancestors, you could look at the Homo habilis infancy and relate it to that of infant primates today. I ended up working in a zoo for 6 months and came out with an excellent grade on my dissertation. A lot of people's interests change over the 3 years, especially when you're given the opportunities to learn such a broad range of subjects. So come in with an open mind and think about what you can be doing with us at the Institute. So finally, we're going to talk a bit about careers. It may seem like a very long way off, but as careers liaison tutor, I work with you from day one, thinking about the kind of skills that you're developing every day within your degree. Archaeology gives you the ability to think laterally to solve a wide range of problems. You gain presentation skills, IT skills, amazing teamwork skills, management skills, the ability to work creatively in diverse situations, and you get to work with the public. The question is more what you can't do with a degree in archaeology. This was Katie Bizzero, the careers consultant and deputy head of UCL Careers, and it really is true. Our alumni go on to work for a huge range of sectors, whether it's within archaeology, heritage, culture, for example museums, Historic England, the National Trust, become field archaeologists, conservation researchers, whether it's within the public sector, civil servants, Foreign Office, NGOs, local government, teachers. Then we have our students that have gone on to become lawyers via a conversion course, medics, again via a conversion course, filmmakers, published authors, working in banking and finance, marketing, tech companies, public relations and the charitable sector. Our students are everywhere and we stay in touch with them all. They come back to the Institute and they talk about the careers and what the Institute of Archaeology enabled them to do. We see this as a stepping stone for you. Once you do a degree in archaeology, there really is no looking back and you can go anywhere with a degree in archaeology from UCL. Thank you so much for being part of this PowerPoint. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a lot of information to take in, so please use this time now to chat to us. We've got members of staff in the chat rooms, we've got students in the chat rooms. I'll be here till about 4 p.m. today, willing and happy to help you with any questions you might have. I can also put you in touch with staff and students from the Institute if you want to talk about any specific areas of archaeology, the degrees or UCL. All of the details are here. You've got our website, our Twitter handle, Instagram, Facebook. As I say, we do have an Instagram live going on as well. You can also email me and please enjoy talking to the staff and students. This is a great opportunity to ask them anything. It's been a great pleasure chatting to you today and I will see you in the chat rooms. Thank you. Bye.